So today's video we're going to go through how to hold a kick pad in Taekwondo. It's quite an important skill to have, holding a pad, to be honest. It's not one of the easiest things to pick up, so I'll go through now how to hold it correctly, a few common mistakes that some people make and how not to make them basically. So we've got two different types of kick pads, just two different brands really, both the same. They're both called double kick pads. Okay, double because they've got two sections that kind of bang into each other. Okay, so when it gets kicked, it creates a louder noise. The Adidas one's a bit softer, it's got foam in it, whereas the two-star one's got a small layer of foam and then like some plastic in there as well. So this one makes a lot louder noise. A couple of things with the kick pads is every single time, every kick pad realistically has always got a strap. Now some of the cheaper kick pads have got like a nylon strap, so I'd avoid those where possible and just go with the ones that have got elasticated straps. The nylon ones, after a while, once they've been on your wrists, because they've not got any movement in them, they start rubbing quite quickly, and they also tend to kind of snap as well over a short period of time. So with these two types of pads, we've basically got two that have got elastic on. Make sure that elastic goes through your hand onto your wrist. So the reason we do that is when you're holding the pad and someone's kicking, if they kick really strong, or you, for whatever reason, haven't got a tight grip on that pad and let go, at least that pad isn't going to fly off and hit someone else that's training in the head or whatever. Okay, so it's more of a safety aspect than anything else. So yeah, just make sure all the time you've got that hand or the wrist strap on. Okay, very important, key point. The next area is how to hold the pad. Okay, so I'll just demonstrate with one, just for now. So make sure when you're holding the pad, it differs depending on the kick. So if we're doing turning kick, okay, all you need to do is just point that pad directly at the person that's kicking. Okay, simple as that. Now to make it easier for them, if they're kicking with the back leg, okay, and they're kicking this side of the pad, then to make it slightly easier, you can tilt the pad slightly that side. Okay, so they're kicking that part. But realistically, all that's doing is stopping them turning their hip completely or properly to do the kick correctly. So keeping it dead straight is much better, okay, for turning kick. Now, when you're holding the pad, make sure every single pad's got this little knobbly bit on the end, okay? So when you're holding it for turning kicks, you want to make sure that your little finger is closest to that end section, okay? And that your thumb is running down the top edge of the pad here, okay? So going forwards there, just extend that arm out. You don't want to hold it too close here, okay? So you want to make sure it's nice and far away from you, just in case your partner, when they kick, misjudges the distance and end up kicking you instead of the pad. Now, another thing that happens a lot is that pad holders might go and hold the pad out and then suddenly they're looking about and someone's kicked it and they've moved a little bit forwards and then they kick again and then they hit your hand, okay? So you need to make sure pad holders always stay focused on what your partner's doing, okay? So it might be as well that if you're turning the pad one side and changing the other side, if you're doing that because they're kicking the opposite sides, as soon as you look away, if you didn't change it, they're going to kick this bottom section of the pad here. Okay, now this part here, it's really hard, okay? So when you're kicking that with the top part of your foot, which you're supposed to do for turning kicks, it's going to really hurt and be painful, okay? So just make sure you're really focused on what they're doing and you're paying attention, okay, to holding the pad for them. It's quite an important one. Other ways we can hold the pads for different kicks. So we've got axe kicks, back kicks, push kicks, front kicks, all sorts of different kicks that we do. So for turning kick, very straightforward, here, there, twisting, okay? Same thing for reverse hook kicks or hook kicks. You would hold it in exactly the same way, but slightly higher potentially. For axe kicks, if you just let go of the pad, okay, obviously keep that wrist strap on, and then instead of the little finger being closest to the knobbly part, just put your thumb on that section there. Okay, so it's like this, and then you're just grabbing. Okay, so your fingers on the outside of the pad, this side here, fingers there, and then your thumbs on the inside. Okay, and then that way we're going to hold the pad out to the side like this. Okay, with a slight tilt like this. Okay, so that way for axe kicks, it can come straight down, go through, can actually impact it. If your partner's holding your axe kick pad and it's like this, you're not going to be able to hit it because your heel's going to come down and your foot, you might just scrape the pad with your fingertip, with your toes, but it's not gonna give you any impact. 1. Just gonna literally graze it, okay? So make sure that you're holding it out like this, okay, for your partner. Another thing is not holding it in, like here, okay? So we don't want it in front of us, so when they do an axe kick here, it's gonna hit us, okay? We wanna make sure it's nice and out to the side, extended out, okay, as far away from you as possible, all right? So very similar thing for back kicks, okay? Back kick and push kick. So for someone doing push kick, holding it in this way, back to the same as we did before, with the little finger closest to the knobbly part, and we're gonna hold it straight out to the side. So when they do their push kick, they're gonna go straight through the pad. Okay, so if you held it in front like this and they do a push kick, obviously it's gonna hit you, okay? We don't want that. We don't want it too close, just in case they misjudge it and hit your hand, okay, and it's gonna throw your arm back. All right, so just nice and far out as you can. Same thing for back kick, okay? Back kick's exactly the same. We want to hold it away from us. Okay, the last thing you want to be doing, especially as for new starters particularly, is holding a pad like this for back kick. Okay, because if you've got someone who really knows how to do back kick, they're going to go straight through that pad and it's going to impact on you straight away. Okay, so make sure you straighten it out to the side. If you need to change hands, make sure you switch over that wrist strap to the other side and then straight out again. Okay. Now, more advanced pad holding techniques are where you've got 2, okay? So you might be holding 2 pads and you're doing maybe a combination of different kicks. So let's say, for instance, someone's doing a turning kick and an axe kick, okay, as a combination. So they're doing a turning kick there with their back leg, and then they're gonna do an axe kick with the other leg. Okay, so they're going 1 with their back leg, their right leg coming here, and then secondly, they're gonna do an axe kick here. Now, holding the pad like this, if you see my wrist, it's completely bent. That's not ideal position to be in, is it? So instead of that, I'm gonna change this one to hold for axe kick, and then this one's gonna be my turning kick. So my turning kick is gonna go 1, and then this one's gonna come up for them to do the axe kick. Okay, and then when I change sides, I need to switch my hand over, so that hand's gonna change, and this hand's gonna change, and then I'm coming here for the turning kick, and going there for the axe kick. Okay, that takes a lot of practice. Okay, it's not an easy thing to do, it just takes experience and practice to do that. Okay, so don't worry too much, and if you're kind of struggling holding the pad for someone who's a bit more advanced, just shout, okay, in the sessions and ask for some help, all right? So it's a really important thing when you are holding the pads. The harder you work holding the pad, the harder the participant or the person that's training is going to be able to work. Okay, so if, for instance, you kind of, lazy is not the word, but kind of not putting in as much energy or effort as you can. Okay, so you're holding the pad like this, looking about, not really moving, and suddenly the pad starts dropping. Okay, the person that you're holding the pad for is not really going to appreciate it much, and they're not going to get a lot out of the session. Okay, so it's really, really important that the person holding the pad puts in as much energy as possible. Okay, so that's quickly how to hold a pad, how not to hold a pad. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got something out of it, and look forward to see you doing it in sessions.